welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over how to render leather along with crocodile-like skin. So I already have my fashion figure base ready to go, but if you want to see how I created this pose, you can feel free to reference the video linked above. That way you guys can follow along with me as we sketch. Okay, so to start, we are just going to outline all of the key objects in our reference photo to create the base of our sketch before rendering. And if you guys want to download the reference photo as well, you can reference, that way you can reference as you're sketching. I'll have the photo available for download in the description box. Okay, so let's get to outlining. Okay, so once we've completed all of our outlines, we'll go back in with a fine liner to finalize and outline everything. To focus on how to create that crocodile-like texture, and please excuse the crookedness of my video. I didn't align my camera properly with my paper, but we're basically just going to start off by creating rounded out squares all right next to each other, and you're going to want to make sure that they are aligned to the flow of your garment just so that everything is in sync. And then just do that consistently throughout the garment. Throughout your sketch, you can also mix in some larger squares along with some smaller ones to give it a more realistic effect. So now let's begin building those shapes all around the coat. Done with the collar, I'm going to focus on coloring the garment in with my base color, and so I'm going to do this by using the Winsor & Newton Pro marker in the color Burnt Sienna, and then after that we're going to focus on shading. So for the shading, I am using a darker color, and for this it's going to be the Winsor & Newton Pro marker in the color Shale, and I'm basically just going to create all my shadow lines. Once I'm done shadowing, I'm then picking up my black fine liner and outlining some key features of the coat, such as like the inner flap of the jacket along with the zipper pull. And then after that, I am going to be focusing on outlining some of the crocodile squares and highlighting with a white color pencil for that highlighting effect. So I'm going to show you guys a reference photo of how the highlighting is done. If you see, there are some darker shadow lines around the corners and then some white shadow points in the center of the squares. So we are going to just start by adding in those key highlights sporadically around the portions of the squares on the coat. Later, I'm going to refine it even more by bringing those shadow and highlight points to the surface, but for now, we're just going to be working with the colored pencil. my Winsor & Newton Pro marker in the color Shell, and I'm just defining those shadow points, and then in between those areas I'm grabbing a white colored pencil and adding in the highlights. As you can see, we're working with some dark colors in here, so to highlight those outlines and details on the coat, I'll be using a white gel ink pen to make those elements stand out. So to start off, I'm just coloring the base with a Winsor & Newton Pro marker in the color Cool Gray 4. And after that, I am going in and outlining the shadow points in a black color, filling in the middle portions with the Winsor & Newton Pro marker in the color Shell. After that, we are going to define the shadow areas once again with the black color just to blend everything in. After we finish those shadow points, I'm then going in with a white color pencil and defining those highlights. Okay, so now we're going to work on refining those highlight points on the crocodile skin texture that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just drawing out a bigger reference for you guys. Coloring in my squares first with the base color, and then you can outline the outer points for a shadow-like effect, and for this I'm just using my Winsor & Newton Pro marker in the color Shell. And then you are going to define highlights with a white gel ink pen and just start outlining the outer portions of the squares. And with us having even the white colored pencil in the middle, it's going to even give it a more popping effect. So I'm just starting by doing this all throughout the sketch, highlighting my main focal points for the highlights, and then going back in with a fine liner to just outline those points even more. And then I'm going to go in with my shadow color, defining those shadow areas around the garment to show those lines. After you have finalized your shadow points, you are pretty much done with your sketch and can use today's lessons on future designs.